Posted by you/aggravating start 7703. My brother and his wife, Laura, who is 7 months pregnant, are staying with us for a week or so since he's interviewing for jobs in the city where my family and I live. My kids love having their aunt and uncle around, and everything's been great. Yesterday, Laura went out and came back with groceries. I thanked her but told her that we don't expect them to do this, as the kitchen is stocked, and we're just enjoying having them. She said that she wanted to and that most of the items were cravings she's been having. I started helping her unload the bags and noticed that a lot of the snacks had peanuts in them, cookies, crackers, peanut butter, even some sort of cake fusion. It all made me uneasy because she knows my oldest son, 8M, is extremely allergic. I don't keep anything of the kind in our home because we had an incident when he was younger where we almost lost him. I didn't want to be rude, but I told her that I'm not comfortable having that stuff in the house. She told me that she would be careful, that she wouldn't eat it around him or his siblings, and that she'd clean up after herself, saying that she was having intense cravings and needed them. Look, I've had 4 kids and kind of get where she's coming from, although I never had to have something, but every woman is different, I guess. I made sure my son knew not to touch any of it and to leave her alone when she's eating them, and that was that. Today, I woke up early to make breakfast and open the fridge, only to be greeted by strawberries dipped in peanut butter left out without a container to chill. The peanut butter jar wasn't sealed properly next to them, and there were sandwiches on a plate because she likes the bread cold and soggy. I was pissed. I've read enough about airborne contamination to know that you can't really determine it, but I wasn't risking it. I grabbed a bag and started throwing everything in it, our groceries, hers, I didn't care. I was going to take the bag, drive to a shelter, and let them know the situation. Laura woke up while I was on my rampage, came down, and asked, all upset, what I was doing. I was snippy with her and didn't try to hide it. We got into an argument, with her defensively saying that I can't do this, that the baby needs it, and that it's cruel to put a pregnant woman through unsatisfied cravings. I told her bluntly that I don't give a single crap, if she can't keep to her word, then I won't either, and that she'll live without her cravings. My son can't say the same with his allergy. She went back upstairs, packed her bag, came back down, grabbed the bag of food, and left in a huff. My brother was at his interview and called me half an hour later to ask what happened. He was upset with his wife but also with me because, in his view, nothing happened, and at the end of the day, my son is fine. I told my husband when he came back from work, and he's completely on my side. Was I wrong here? Update 1 day later. Like some people had predicted in the comments on the other sub, Laura did go straight to my family and started complaining. She didn't twist anything, she told them the full, honest story, and my mother was completely livid. She called me, panting like she'd run a marathon after berating Laura, to make sure my son was okay. I can only imagine the riot act she read to her. Apparently, even my stepdad gave Laura one of his disapproving frowns. My brother came back in the evening to get his stuff since Laura had only packed hers for some reason. He did apologize for what she did and said that he'll have a chat with her once she's calmed down. He told me she's been inconsolable, crying since she left my mom's house, now feels unwelcome and unloved in our family, and he completely blames me for it. My husband butted in and told him that it's enough, that whatever Laura's feeling doesn't come close to what we felt, and that she needs to get over herself. He added that I've been scrubbing the house from top to bottom for hours because of her actions. I did get panicky and went on to deep clean the whole house, especially the kitchen. Anyway, my brother left after saying there's no reasoning with us when we're being this stubborn. Now that I've had time to get out of the state I was in, I do feel bad that she's distressed and feels unwelcome in our family. That was never my goal. I've been debating sending her an apology, not for my actions, because I stand by them, but for the way I went about it. I shouldn't have allowed the stuff in our house in the first place and could have been calmer about it after I opened the fridge. Second update 2.5 weeks later. A lot of people ask me for an update, so here it is. Warning, this is going to be a long one. After my mom berated Laura and my brother yelled at my husband and me, I took the advice I was given and sent them a long text, which ended up being a bit of a ramble about everything, how messed up the situation is, how disgusted we are by their stance, and how we'll be going low contact until we feel ready to be around them again. That was the day after my brother packed his bags and left. I was left on red, and I thought that was that until a few days ago when I got a call from Laura. I thought about not answering, but curiosity got the better of me. When I picked up, Laura tried to make awkward small talk, but I think she sensed I wasn't in the mood and got right to the point. She apologized for her behavior, said she had no excuse other than her hormones, and we ended up having a long chat about everything. By the end of it, I actually felt better and like we could get past it and work on our relationship. She also mentioned that she would still like my family and me to come to her birthday dinner. It wasn't going to happen at a restaurant anymore. I guess the hotel stay ended up costing them a lot, as some of you predicted, and that it was going to be at their house instead. I told her I would talk with my husband and get back to her. I also got a text from my brother apologizing and saying he was just trying to protect and stand by his wife. It was too soon to start mending things, as my husband pointed out, but he left the choice up to me. I honestly believed her apology because she had never acted like that before, and she seemed genuinely ashamed of herself. Anyway, my sister, who also received an apology because she tore into her as well, and my parents, who also got an apology, were invited too, but my sister's kids wanted a cousin's sleepover instead of going with us. After talking it over with my sister, we agreed to let them have the sleepover at my house. My regular babysitters are my next-door neighbors, two sweet and responsible 16-year-olds who live with their mom. They usually team up to watch my kids on date nights. There's a reason I'm mentioning this. With my sister's two kids added to the mix, I asked their mom if she was free to join them, and she agreed. So, I called Laura and told her that Richard and I are coming. When we got to their house, Laura greeted my husband and me at the door. We handed her the gift and went in, but she seemed puzzled that we didn't have a trail of kids with us, so I reminded her that it was just adults tonight. The same thing happened when my sister and her husband walked in. Dinner was awkward, no matter how much we tried to lighten the mood, and the conversation was stilted at best, but I thought it was at least a step forward. Laura asked again why the kids weren't with us, mentioning that she had made special food for them. I had never mentioned the kids when I got back to her, just my husband and me, but I felt like it was my fault for not clarifying, so I apologized and thanked her for thinking of them. My sister chimed in, saying that her kids and mine were having a cousin's sleepover tonight, and how she was excited for our soon-to-be nephew to join them when he's here and older. Laura smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm sure he'll be best friends with his cousins, meaning my kids, and his step-cousins, meaning my sisters." This pissed me off because we don't use step anything with the kids, but I bit my tongue. For context, my sister is technically my stepsister. I know I used stepdad in my first post, but I usually call him by his first name. I consider him a parental figure since he raised me from the age of 10, but I had a dad, and that title will always be his. My sister gave Laura a hurt look, but it was my brother who nudged his wife with a "what are you doing" look. A few more minutes went by with eating and light conversation before Laura asked again about our kids, specifically who was watching them since all four parents were here. I told her that my neighbor and her daughters were babysitting, to which she laughed and joked about how incompetent the girls and their mom must be if it took all three of them to handle the kids. Also for context, I have 4 kids. I'm biased and like to think they're well behaved, but they can sometimes be too much for one person to handle, even for me, and I'm the one who brought them into this world. Add my sister's 2 kids, and it's a lot for 2 teenage girls to manage, even for just a few hours. We left at 7 and said we'd be back at 11. It has absolutely nothing to do with the girls, whom my kids adore, or their mom, who is as kind as they come. Before I could say anything, my mom stepped in with one of her smiles and told Laura that it's so kind of her to offer her own competence and watch the kids next time. That shut her up real fast. After that, dinner became even more awkward until we cleared the table and Laura brought out dessert while my brother got the cake from the fridge. This is where I lost the last of my remaining brain cells. I went to the bathroom, and when I came out, I saw my husband carrying my bag and trying to usher me out of the front door to leave. He looked pissed, and I was beyond confused. Naturally, I resisted because, yes, the dinner was a train wreck, but I at least wanted to say goodbye and offer a lame excuse for our departure. When my husband tried to literally carry me out, I knew something was wrong. After a couple of attempts, I darted past him back to the dining room. Laura's dessert table was now fully set, featuring peanut butter cake pops, PB pie, PB cookies, PB brownies, and, to top it all off, a PB birthday cake that my brother had just brought in, looking horrified as he sniffed at it. Laura then gave me a big smile and loudly said to my family, "I thought I should at least get to have my cravings on my birthday. Get your fill before she throws these out too." I honestly thought for a second that my sister was going to tackle her, and I wasn't far behind because all I could think about was the fact that Laura thought my kids were coming and had planned this accordingly. I felt so guilty for allowing peanut products in our house the last time, and if my sister's kids hadn't wanted the sleepover, I would have walked my son into danger a second time. I lost my crap. Without thinking about my actions, I grabbed Laura's head and slammed it straight into the cake. I held it down as long as I could while she flailed before I let her go. I honestly wanted to go for the pie too, but I had already embarrassed myself enough by acting like that in the first place. So I told my brother that I was done with both him and his wife, and if they tried to contact me or my family again, I would file for a protective order. Then I let my husband lead me out. My sister followed behind us with her husband, but our parents stayed back. I heard Laura screaming profanities after us, but my stepdad raised his voice, which shut her up. I got a lot of jokes about his reaction on my first post, but the man is as stoic as they come. Him showing any emotion is a big deal. I remember that his frown alone, growing up, was enough to literally stop my sister and me in our tracks because we knew if he gave us one, we had messed up. I haven't asked my mom what happened after we left because I can't handle any more heartache from my brother or his actions. I don't think this was the update anyone wanted, least of all me, but I'm completely done with both of them. Even though my brother looked like he had no idea, the stuff was in his house, happening under his roof. I'm sad I won't be in my nephew's life, and my kids won't get to know the new cousin they've been waiting for, but I'd rather cry over that than over my son's life.